a gay pastor, Jordan Brown, 3 weeks ago, he went to order a gay wedding cake from Whole Foods, and he wanted the phrase "love wins" iced on the top of it. And instead, he claimed 3 weeks ago, he got a cake with the phrase "love wins" and then underneath spelt out FAG, fag. Love wins fag. So a homophobic slur. And so he complained about it, and he went public, and it became a big deal in the media that this was a hate crime, that Whole Foods is now handing openly gay people homophobic wedding cakes. You can't get a wedding cake without them adding a gay slur to it. And then they showed the store video footage, which showed him apparently purchasing the cake without the slur on it, and he apparently added the slur later. And anyway, he's now withdrawn his charge against Whole Foods, and Whole Foods is not going to sue him for damaging his reputation. And he's apologized to the LGBT community for diverting attention from real issues. And he says he wants to apologize to Whole Foods for questioning the company's commitment to its values. And if you look at the way this story has been reported, there's even when he's basically perpetrated a fake hate crime to make a very gay-friendly store look homophobic. That's what this guy did. And the Washington Post reports the story, saying, Pastor Brown normally preaches about love and acceptance with a particular focus on outreach to lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender Christians at the church he leads in Austin, Texas. But after he picked up a cake in April that was supposed to say love wins, he turned to preaching in the media and in court. No, he didn't. This guy lied. He lied. He got a cake that was what he wanted, that said love wins, beautifully iced on the gay wedding cake. And then he went and he got a little icing funnel, and he made some icing. He heated up the sugar and the coloring, and he went to the trouble of icing the letters FAG on his gay wedding cake to make Whole Foods look like homophobes, look like holophobes. It's not Whole Foods, it's holophobe there. Whole Foods is holophobic. He went to the trouble of icing FAG. Do you know how difficult it is? That I used to ice cakes when my little girl was a young girl and she was still impressed by it and didn't want the Shrek cake or whatever or the Finding Nemo cake from the official cake store. I used to go to the trouble of icing her birthday cake. I used to ice cakes. Mr. Sudley's now going, oh, you used to ice cakes. Come on, you shop at Whole Foods. There's not a real man in 100-mile radius. It's the new... It's yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. It's just, there's no men anymore. We're all girls now. Yes, I iced my daughter's birthday cake. And it's incredibly difficult. When a real man, when a manly man ices a cake, it's a hell of a mess. You know, you have to have the number of goes. You have to have that like little paper bag. You're icing the name on the cake. This guy went to the trouble. Most of these fake hate crimes, they just smear blood on a college dorm door in the shape, or they draw a swastika, or they hang a noose. And this guy, he went to the trouble of making icing and icing the letters FAG on his hate crime wedding cake from Whole Foods. And that's what's fascinating about this. The whole identity politics thing, which is the most poisonous thing that has come to the Western world. Because the great thing about the Western world, particularly the common law world, common law has never acknowledged groups. Common law says you are an individual. and your rights derive from the fact that you're an individual before the law. And it doesn't matter whether you're a gay individual or a transgendered individual or a black individual or a Muslim individual. Under common law, in the common law tradition, your rights derive as an individual before the law. And now we live in this identity group world, and more to the point, an identity group hierarchy that is defined mostly by victimhood, by the fact that everybody else is out to get you. So if you live in a reasonably nice place and you shop at Whole Foods, if you're a gay pastor, for example, which would be a contradiction in terms at many points in human history, if you're a gay pastor and you've got a gay church and you shop at Whole Foods and you have a pretty nice life, and yet the whole mode of society today is that identity groups politics is so overpowering that the haters, you need someone to hate you, and the haters aren't hating you enough, and you wind up going to Whole Foods and ordering a gay wedding cake and icing the letters going to the trouble of icing the letters FAG on your wedding cake. Think of that guy. Think of him making the heating the sugar, putting in the coloring, putting it into the little piping bag with the greasy paper, and painstakingly, beautifully lettering the letters FAG so he can make Whole Foods look like haters. And this is the sickness about identity group politics, and for which the left is almost entirely to blame, in that it asks people not to define themselves as Americans, not to define themselves as citizens, and not to conduct their relationships on the basis of a citizen treating with other citizens, but ask them instead to look on themselves as a functionary of a particular grievance industry. And when you do that, you end up with the insanity of this deranged lunatic whom the Washington Post is apologizing for. They're saying, well, after he picked up a cake in April that was supposed to say love wins, he turned to preaching in the... No, he didn't. He lied. You Twitter the Washington Post, you incompetent journalist. He didn't turn to anything. What he did was he iced the letters FAG. He's so poisoned by the identity politics where we're supposed to think of ourselves as members of this group or that group, and we come in a hierarchy of groups. So as we discussed yesterday, at a German swimming bath, migrants trump women, and in an Idaho bathroom, transgendered trump women. We're supposed to think of ourselves as victim groups with a hierarchy of victimhood. And it has been one of the most disgraceful and damaging things, to the point where this guy shouldn't be preaching to anyone. He's mentally ill. He's mentally ill. A guy who is so twisted and insecure and obsessed with identity politics that he painstakingly ices FAG on a wedding cake served to him by a pro-gay wedding clerk at a pro-gay cake store. That's where identity politics leads. You need someone to hate you. And if you live in a reasonably civilized society, there aren't enough people to hate you. So you have to conjure phantoms. And then you end up in a world where you can't even recognize the people who really hate you. Because that guy's problem is not Whole Foods cake department. That guy's problem is the vast arc of the Sharia world where they want to burn him alive or toss him off a building, and he's too stupid and twisted by this insane identity politics of the left that he can't even see it. And that's where the dead end of identity politics leads, to a pathetic guy who's been given a wedding cake by a pro-gay wedding store, and he's sitting there painstakingly lettering the FAG in icing on the cake. Identity politics is a dead end. In a free society, we are citizens, and we treat with our fellow citizens as individuals, equal before the law. Mark Steyn for Rush, 1-800-282-2882.